Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk to you about the Baker Act and the tolling of the 72-hour clock. And by tolling I mean the stopping, in other words, stopping that clock from running. So how does that happen? When would it happen? So just to backtrack just for a second to lay a little foundation here. Two types of Baker Act in Florida: involuntary, involuntary. The involuntary detention has a 72-hour clock. The voluntary has no clock running. It's an indefinite hold. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the involuntary. Now, if you have a loved one that is taken to a hospital and they're there to receive medical attention, even if they ultimately get Baker Acted, the 72-hour clock is not ticking. It doesn't start to tick until either they are placed in a behavioral health unit, and some hospitals have them and some don't, or they're placed in a Baker Act receiving facility, meaning they're probably placed in an ambulance and transferred, sometimes across county lines even, to a facility that apparently has a bed for them. Once they are there, that's when the 72-hour clock starts to tick. Now, where does the whole tolling thing come in? It comes in when somebody is at either a Baker Act receiving facility or they are in the behavioral health unit of a hospital, and for some reason they need medical attention. So in a case that we recently encountered, somebody was taken to a hospital. They were Baker Acted, and I'll spare you the details of why, but needless to say they were Baker Acted, albeit I think it was an illegal detention, but that's the universe that we operated in. So they got Baker Acted, they got transferred to a Baker Act receiving facility, and while they were there, they had a seizure, so they were sent back to the hospital. When they were sent back to the hospital, where they remained for about 24 hours, that stopped the 72-hour clock from ticking. After 24 hours, they were then sent back to the Baker Act receiving facility. Well, within just about a day, they had another seizure, and back they went to the hospital. And that again stopped the clock from ticking. It was tolled. And so when somebody is no longer in that Baker Act receiving facility and they are receiving medical services, that tolls, that stops the clock from ticking. And here's the real kicker. The hospital then turned around to the family and said, oh, the Baker Act's been lifted, as if to suggest this person was now free to leave. Not true. Okay, first of all, the Baker Act has not been lifted. And you'll know that because if you say to them, well, now they're receiving medical attention, can I remove them and take them to another hospital? My guess is, and invariably what's going to happen is they're going to say, no, you can't take them. Well, if they're no longer under the Baker Act, then they've been falsely imprisoned, which is a crime. So I don't care what the staff tells you, because most of them don't know what they're talking about anyway. But if they're telling you that the Baker Act's been lifted, what they're really telling you is, and they don't even know they're telling you this, is that the clock has stopped ticking. It has been tolled. And as soon as this person is medically cleared, whoosh, back they go. And the clock will start ticking over again, and all the other issues that you have with the Baker Act, nobody knowing you're there, no ability to sue, all of this stuff, all of the issues with the Baker Act are right back there where they are. So just because somebody's saying you're not Baker Acted, they're not Baker Acted, is complete, it's bogus, it's BS, it's not true. If you can remove them, then the Baker Act has been lifted. If you cannot, then I don't care what the hospital staff is telling you. They either don't know what they're talking about or they're flat out lying to you. Either way, there's still a Baker Act in place and your loved one still cannot leave. And I will tell you, I have filed plenty of cases, even when the person was in the hospital. Because if they're free to leave and the hospital says they're not, I want to know why the family, while the individual, the patient, cannot decide where they should receive medical services. If I feel like I'm having chest pains and I don't like the way the hospital's talking to me or they're dealing with me, I want to be able to get an ambulance or even walk out and go to another hospital. Well, if they don't let me do so, there must be a reason. And so understand this. If you are in the facility, the clock is no longer ticking, even if you've already been taken to a Baker Act receiving facility or behavioral health unit. That's the way this thing works. And so I get a little frustrated, as you can tell, and this is a passion of mine. You know that because it's happened to my family, when these facilities either don't know what they're talking about or they lie to patients and they lie to the families. It's not fair and it's not right, which is why in every single video I think I've ever put out there about the Baker Act, I tell you, don't wait. Don't leave your loved one's fate in the hands of the hospital or the Baker Act facility or either one of them or both of them. You should fight to get out the minute you get detained. Don't leave your loved ones in the hands of the state, because the state don't care and the state does a really crappy job of taking care of people. So that's tolling. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I'd love a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.